Hello and welcome, my friends. Happy to see you all. Yes, and we're celebrating here in Southern California because we have our first rain since December. And the ground is just going, ah. So it was also, of course, then reminding me of what it's like to get parched and what happens when we're not getting enough loving attention, the way that we can kind of contract and shrivel up. And so I was feeling too the how the attention is a kind of rain. Attention is a nutrient that can land on us and be absorbed, as really a basic uh, source of not only a nutrient, but of expansion. The other thing that was occurring to me as I was preparing for this morning, the word pause came into my mind. And I want to invite you to experiment just simply you doing that today, shifting your attention from you to maybe others on the call. You might recognize friends of yours and you find your attention going to them. And then does your attention come back to you? Or does your attention go out and then you see, oh, great, and there's Michael. Oh, and there's Patrick. And then you just get lost out there. So I want you to simply notice, doing your best not to program yourself. How are you shifting your attention today? And as you do that, just want to remind everyone that part of what we're doing is shifting from fear to love through presence. And I've gotten all excited about presence again and the power of presencing. And we can also think of what we call the loop of awareness as what I call in our book, Conscious Loving Ever After, I call it full spectrum presencing, because when you're using the wholeness of you and your whole body to shift your attention, it's a completely different experience. So if you're first noticing how you're using, what captures your attention so that you stop shifting by choice and get captured. What captures your attention? So part of the function of simply shifting your attention is to interrupt the hypnosis. It's to interrupt the trance, because mostly our attention goes out into the, oh my God, of what's going on next. And when I do that, I realize that I kind of lose my breath and it all kind of comes up and out. So one thing I want to suggest having you just add in is just a little bit of a pause. The one of the pauses I really like is the waltz rhythm. So there's in, 2, 3, in, 2, 3. So the in is kind of where you have a pause and then the other direction. So what it also brings in is different kinds of rhythms. So I want to invite you to shift your attention in a waltz rhythm. So out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3. And when on the 2, 3, notice if you can let it kind of spread out. And then it can shift and spread out. So let yourself just play with that a little bit of creating a waltz rhythm for your attention. And then just seeing how you can play with that. How does the rest of your body want to play with it? Does it encourage you to come more toward rooting? Does it encourage you more toward expansion? Does it give you just a little bit of syncopation and danciness in your body? So just notice, play with that for a little bit with a waltz rhythm. So for me, it's it's the sinking in. rather than just didn't going through the motions, which keep things more on a surface. So notice how you can create a landing. So I happen to be sitting on a swapper, and that's a great place for landing because when I land, I also bounce. So when you land, can you create an internal bounce, an internal little reverberation? So when you land out, you can let it kind of bounce around. Like I'm seeing, the raindrops when they're bouncing, they bounce and then they get absorbed, and they bounce, 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 and then they get absorbed. And then letting your attention come back to you and notice any place in you that has been more parched, that you might not have even realized, oh, this part of me really is wanting attention. So before your body has to yell at you, what are some of the signals of, yoo-hoo, over here, pay attention over here? So some of the key areas that come up for people are chest, shoulders, back of the neck, belly. I find in my hips and my low belly also is an area, and particularly my low back and my sacrum area, because our sacrums, they just kind of hold on, they're like the yoke of our whole body and hold everything. Notice what happens if you bring that curious attention into your sacrum and let it kind of land there and spread out. What I notice with attention is that for many people, there's no pause. There's just this capturing of attention that just kind of leaks out. And so notice, how can you actually create a pause, an internal pause? So for me, that happens most easily on the out breath. And when I notice the out breath, I notice at the bottom of the out breath, there's just a little completing the out breath. And then I gather up and I can send out. And then the landing has a little bit, sort of a gentle bounce. So I want to have you now add a little bit of bounce in just as you're shifting your attention. And notice where, when I do that, I can feel that the left side of my neck is going, oh yeah, let's bounce a little bit in there. Let that bouncing reverberate. And can you bounce inside yourself even when you're letting your attention go out into the space around you? The shifting and pause, that act of shifting your attention is that you have access to this when you need it. So when he can support you with this shifting of
We're practicing a pause.
is a kind of infinity loop. I'll do it this way so you can see it. So we often think of our attention as being kind of linear. I send it out, I take it back. So let yourself try it on as a kind of infinity loop, that it goes out. We can do it first in the vertical. It goes out and kind of go out and then around something, and then back to you and around you and back out and around. And you can do that. You can have your body support you in that. And when you get a sense of the rhythm, you can continue using your body if you like to, or you can just let your attention go out in a when I into what I'm calling kind of whole body perception. Because we put a lot of pressure on our eyes to grab everything. But what if you let your eyes relax and you let your whole body perception come out? It's kind of like not only a loop of awareness, but it's a love scoop. You're going out and gathering, sending out, and then coming back through, including the wholeness of you, not just back through your eyes. So you can do it vertically. Yeah, and I love some of the experimenting that you're doing. And if you see something that somebody else is doing, this is part of why we share in a group. If you see somebody, ooh, that's cool, I'm going to try that on, please feel free, because we're sharing our experimenting and our learning with each other. Yeah, beautiful. I also find that when I'm not circulating my attention, I also basically don't touch myself either physically or with my attention. So let's experiment now with the horizontal full spectrum. So you can go out to the sides. What's going on over here? Because I learned a long time ago that Jung said the hunch comes from the periphery. The hunch comes from the periphery. So when we're busy staring at things, like trying to make something different, meanwhile, the solution might be right on over there at the edge of your vision. So let yourself experiment with going out to the side, back into you, out to the side. I like letting my vision come out to the side rather than turning my whole head. I'm going to let my vision, my whole body vision, come out to the side. So here's something that almost nobody knows. And one of the ways you can really confirm this is just by doing your loop of awareness while you're at an airport traveling. People are completely unaware of the backs of their bodies. So, I'll be walking along at the airport and I have a memory of this. And someone will just stop right in the middle of the concourse and they'll realize that they've got kind of people, backing up behind them. So I want to have you circulate your attention in front and then circulate it behind you. And let yourself sense into what's going on behind me. Because we're so front oriented. Part of the practicing loop of awareness and your love scoops is to give you whole body presence and to open up your vision that includes your perception, your hearing, your sensing, your touching into. So see how much more your awareness is occupied when you're going out here in front. And when you bring it to the back of you, how are your sensors, your sensory perceptions in your back? Whoa. So the whole kaleidoscope, when we put all of those things together, we kind of have an atom, with energy circulating around. And what's in the middle of that is you. Getting to have more fullness of presence, more ability to be present with others. Right now, I think it's so imperative that we return home because there's so much that's calling on your attention. So go ahead and let your attention go right now to where it's being called. Let yourself really land there. And then feel where in your body can you most easily come home to. And let yourself go ahead and scoop up some love and bring that to your reliable homecoming place. And I notice that even as I'm talking, I can feel the reverberation through my sternum, which years ago wasn't really able to feel. So I can tell that I've gotten so much more openness in my chest. I'd like you to create a pleasant hmm in your homecoming place. And let this be a place of landing for you. Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm going to take leave now because I can see someone is coming to fix something that's broken because, of course, life continues. I'm doing loop of awareness and now, so I'm going to remember to come home to me. All righty. Take care. Until next time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Katie.